Blog Talk Radio.
Live from Washington, D.C., it's quintessential listening. Poetry Online Radio. Now, here's your host, Dr. Michael Anthony Ingram.
Good afternoon and welcome to the program. Protest poetry cries out against wrongs of any kind that is thought to be difficult to understand and to challenge. These particular programs are social, racial, political, environmental, etc. It is not always nice and sweet. It speaks truth to power. Poets who have written protest poetry have given voice to the voiceless, commented on the current events, celebrated freedom fighters, and advocated for social change. Today's program is an opportunity for you to share your protest poetry. So please call in at 646-787-1631. I am extremely excited about this program. As you can tell, we've got a first caller, and I'd like to introduce her.
Hi.
Miss Phyllis Clark.
Hi.
How are you? How are you today?
Oh, I'm really happy to be here with you. I'm so glad I found you.
As you can tell, I'm a little discombobulated, but I'm happy to be here myself. So.
Oh, good.
Do you have a poem or two for us?
Yeah, I do. I have a couple of poems if you have time for more than one, but
yes.
I have one for sure. So the first one I want to read is something I wrote very recently, and so much is happening, as you know. There's
yes.
a lot to write about for us as protest poets, this one is about my response to the tear gassing of the demonstrators outside the White House. So that was the event that prompted it. It kind of speaks to more than that. But, so shall I just go ahead and read it?
Yes, please.
Okay. The news is a horror story. Too much, it seems, for me to bear, but still I try. Sometimes I listen, sometimes I read. It's the repetition, the downwards that spirals into downfall that bothers me the most. Watching the destruction of progress, because enough people delight in destruction, because the fall comes after a climbing out, a moving forward. So much that is bleak, that wants to overturn any progress. The threat of love, too much to allow. We watch it from home on our video screens, this descent into historic duplications. This country should be smarter than this. Too much for me. The enemies of our souls returned from their political graves. Too much to watch as too many police, too many lawmakers line up to ignore injustice. I remember my mother hoping to do the right thing, but giving up. Unbearable for me to watch it, her turning away, climbing onto the back of denial, in the face of calamity, not doing a thing.
It's beautiful, extremely powerful.
Thank you.
Why do you think things are like the way they are?
Oh my God. I don't know if I'm there, but if I can answer, let's see, what do I think about that? Well, I've been thinking about it a lot, and I've been reading about it too. And the thing that I read this morning that speaks to me about that is that the idea that it's the combination of the fact that people have been forced to stay in for so long.
Yes.
And then seeing this horrendous, horrific murder that happened, on video, although there's been so many already that we've all seen, for some reason this one has ignited us in a way that it maybe it's because of the cold-bloodedness of it.
Yes.
But maybe it's also because of the fact that we've been kind of indoors and we haven't been able to really, be as busy as usual. And so I don't know if that makes sense to you, that that's maybe lighting more of the spark this time.
Yes, I can understand that totally. We have been, quote, locked up for such a long time, and people need to get out, and this is one way to get out. I guess I'm surprised at the numbers of people that are out. I think that's what surprises
me
that
too.
there are just there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people all over the world kneeling and chanting, doing all the things that are necessary to protest in a positive and constructive way.
Yeah. And I saw this morning that Paris had a tremendous protest. I mean, I don't know how many people. The whole screen was just filled with people protesting in France. So
that's incredible.
It's just igniting. I know, and it's so hopeful, and yet there's such an ominousness about it too. For me, it's just really so mixed. Because when you look at history, it's such a mixed bag. So I'm really hoping that things can change.
Right. And our role is, what do you think, as poets? Yes.
Well, as you might have noticed from the poem that I read, I write for myself first. I always write for myself first because, to me, that's where the healing is. So I'm writing it to try to heal myself in some small way, and sometimes that's as much of an action as I can take. When I feel so helpless. So I do that first, and then if other people find it or read it, or I read it at a reading, and it moves somebody else, then that's really great. That's what I want to. So, and I think it brings us to think about things more. Poetry it's such a thoughtful way to say things. In such a condensed way that it makes more meaning. For people than maybe reading a newspaper article about it.
Now, I know that you have a book. Yes, this is correct. I know that you have a book coming out. What is the title? What is the title?
The title of the book is The Full Moon Herald. And it's a herald in the sense of, as a herald with a bugle, but it's also a newspaper. So it's a herald just like the Herald Tribune was a newspaper. And it's a compilation of all the poems that I've written, in past years, and now it's got some really new ones in there too about the news, because I've been writing poetry about the news for a long time. So,
is this your first book?
Yeah.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
It's really exciting and kind of scary too, It's like, you put yourself out there and
yes.
in a pretty big way.
Yeah, it's true. It's nerve-wracking to share your work in that manner. It is really nerve-wracking. I know.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
you will be. I was going to say you'll be a guest on my show on Quintessential Listening Poetry online radio on the 17th, on Wednesday the 17th at 8 p.m.
I'm so looking forward to that. I'm really, really looking forward to that, Michael. So what books have you published? Can you tell me about your books?
Well, my book was published back in 2000. It's been a long, long, long time ago.
No, that's
Um,
okay.
but I'm working on a new book, and I plan to to share some poetry from my new book. So the new book is titled "When Cherry Blossoms Fall on Black Skin."
Uh-huh. Wow.
Yes.
I like it.
So, well, thank you very much. So it's about, I guess, my life story in a sense. There, as
Mhm.
I looked through it the other night in terms of the rough draft, there were a number of poems in there that seemed to fit what we're talking about today in terms of protest. So I'll play some of those as we go along. I've got some other things to
Mm.
share as well. So what I'd
Mhm.
like to do now is to bring in one of the the clips of someone that I found online, and I'd like to play that at this moment. Is that okay? Then come
Yeah,
back
of
to you.
course.
Okay, all right.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Because
Okay. All right.
it's just you and I right now. So,
Well, I'm happy to I love what we're doing, so
all
I'm
right,
just
all right. So
delighted.
have a lot of poems ready.
Okay.
All right, all right.
You got it. Okay. All right.
Okay, all right
I'll
then.
be here.
Okay, great. All right, good people. What I'd like to do is to play a poem from my new book, which is titled, my forthcoming book rather, which is titled When Cherry Blossoms Fall on Black Skin. I can see the tops of trees. I can see the tops of trees, but I can't reach them. Lord knows I've tried to reach the tops of trees in my mind, in my life, in my time. Yet every time I scale the heights of an old oak tree in order to reach the limb of the highest branch and touch the greenest leaf, reality gently but assuredly pushes me back down to the ground. And there I am again looking up at the tops of trees in my mind, in my life, in my time. I can see the peaks of mountains, but I can't reach them. Lord knows I've tried to reach the peaks of mountains in my mind, in my life, in my time. Yet every time I climb the cliffs of the craggiest mountain in order to taste the pureness of untainted snow, reality gently but confidently pushes me back down to the ground. And there I am again looking up at the peaks of mountains in my mind, in my life, in my time. I can see the crest of clouds, but I can't reach them. Lord knows I've tried to reach the crest of clouds in my mind, in my life, in my time. Yet every time I fold my arms in order to cradle a wisp of God's immaculate breath, reality gently but willfully pushes me back down to the ground. And there I'm again looking up at the crest of clouds in my mind, in my life, in my time. I can see the meridian of the sky, but I can't reach it. Lord knows I've tried to reach the meridian of the sky in my mind, in my life, in my time. Yet every time I stretch out my arms in order to seize a piece of Mount Olympus on high, reality gently but deliberately pushes me back down to the ground. And there I'm again looking up at the meridian of the sky in my mind, in my life, in my time. Reality, won't you stop pushing? And please, let me dream, let me reach, let me love, let me be. Right. That was
Wow.
I can see the tops of trees. Can you understand that?
I'm sorry.
I said, can you understand that poem?
Oh, wow. I love all that repetition.
Yeah, I'm a performance poet. I did travel the country in a one man show. So my
Oh,
work,
really?
I'm not sure whether my work will translate well on the page, but that's one of
Oh,
the pieces
wow.
that I
Interesting.
share with the public.
Yeah. No, it's that feeling of the down, being pulled down. is really,
Well,
there. It brings you viscerally there.
well, and I think too, as a black man, feeling as if
Mm-hmm.
I've been pulled down on a number of different occasions. You know, you have your best of intentions, and you think that you're doing something right, and then something, and there you are, trying to start all over again.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
That
that's
really
why
comes through. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well, thank you very much. I really believe that. What do I believe? I believe that there's so much that can be done to make changes for us to really be free,
Mm-hmm.
all of us, to really, really be free. Right now, we're not.
Mm-hmm.
We're caught up in this web
Right.
of institutional racism and police brutality. So it's difficult to feel free. And I've got some other works by other people that pretty much share that same sentiment. So would you like to share another poem?
Mm-hmm.
Like to share another poem?
Yeah. Oh, sure.
It's
Yeah.
just
I'm
you and
kind
I.
of still. Yeah.
It's just
I'm
you and
still
I.
thinking about yours. Yeah. Can I say a few more things about your poem?
Yes, please.
The way you have the ups and the downs, and then the repetition of in my life, in my mind, in my time. It really works. It just brings that feeling that you're talking about so clearly. It's really what I want to say. It brings us there with you.
All right.
I can really relate to that feeling, and I've certainly felt it too. Yeah, it's kind of universal, I think, but maybe not. So it's got everyone has their own particular way of experiencing that, some more than others.
Yes, I understand. Well, I appreciate that. I think in terms of poetry, I view it as being a lived experience, that when you write something and you read and you have an opportunity to read it out loud, I believe it's important to live it because you wrote it.
Yeah.
Bring that out of your system. Bring that oomph out of your system so that people can understand, hey, this is my work. I'm proud of it. And we'll go from there. That's how I operate.
Your energy, yeah. So your energy really it affects me in a positive way,
Okay.
And
well, thank
I
you.
really like that. I feel that, yeah. So I'll read you one of mine. Excuse me. That this one I wrote. I think right around the time that the Syrian refugee issue was kind of the news of the day. That's all kind of gone out of the news cycle, as we know how that goes. But it sort of put me on this place of just thinking about all the horrible things that are happening. And unfortunately, it's still pretty timely, I think. So it's called "Don't Read This Poem." Don't get me started on the news from Iraq, from Syria, from our public schools. It streams onto my phone, those bodies in the streets, the snare of an automatic, cloud of chlorine over a city, caged face of a child watching a gun. My country triggers its Death Stars into another gash in the world for no good reason. Gets this thing going, the way revenge makes evil the winner, the way crazy people can buy guns as easily as corn chips. Don't get me started on the way we are afraid and too busy, how the homeless mold in the streets or at the borders while we walk by, their realm of suffering like another kind of Death Star. Don't read this poem because it's too hopeless. Look for love somewhere in the rubble of human behavior. Don't let yourself be afraid, even though you feel fear is the only choice, even though most people know right from wrong, even though war is a beast beckoning from a dark place. Go out to the ocean, bring an extra sandwich, learn about the jungle, sing homage to John Lennon, practice laughing yoga. Don't fall asleep at the wheel. Don't drive around with a body bag in your trunk. Get the oil changed.
Wow. That was deep.
Did you like that
Don't read
one?
this. I love that one. Don't read this poem.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I could feel that too. I really could.
Oh, thank you.
Especially when you got to the don'ts. Those those
Uh-huh.
really struck me. Those really struck me.
Mm, mm. Yeah, don't get me started on the news. Yeah, well, I don't know if you feel that way. Sometimes I just feel like I can't listen to another word. I can't see another
Oh,
image. It's too much.
it's too much.
Yeah.
I live in Washington D.C. and I don't
Uh-huh.
watch the news. I don't watch the news because on every
Mhm.
station it's murder, robbery, rape, theft.
Uh-huh.
On
Right.
every channel, it's too much. It's
Right.
overwhelming. It's just
Right.
overwhelming.
I
So
know.
I
I
don't watch it.
know.
I mean, I find out about what's happening in Washington D.C. through other means, and it's not the
Mhm.
news on TV. I don't. I've been here
Mhm.
10 years, and I don't think I've watched the news maybe more than twice during that
Right.
particular period. I know it sounds strange,
So do
but I
you
just can't.
yeah. So do you feel like you have to know what's going on in a way, or do you feel like it's better not to know? Like I struggle with that. It's kind of like a dilemma for me. I don't want to
Hmm.
know, but then I feel like, well, I have to know because it's affecting us all. And
Right.
um,
Well, I guess I don't struggle with that dilemma anymore. I've just decided that I won't watch the news, but I do read
yeah,
about it.
right.
I read the news every
So you
day.
read about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I read
Okay.
about it.
Yeah,
I
that's
just
what I
can't
do
watch
too.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay,
read
got it.
about it.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
so I stay
right.
on.
I couldn't watch
I stay
that.
on top of things.
Right.
Yes. But I
Right.
just
Right.
don't read.
The other
Well,
right. The
y-
other thing.
no,
Oh, go ahead.
no, please continue.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say there's something about realizing that like that video of George Floyd getting murdered.
Yes.
I couldn't watch it, but then I realized, well, he he lived it. And other people were there watching it. It's like you kind of have to realize that people are actually going through these things. It's not just
Mhm.
like watching it. And
Mhm.
so sometimes that if I'm feeling bad about something, I think, well, but it's like, whoa, there's so many people who are going through so much every day. That's what we have to try to remember, to
Yes.
think about the other person.
Yes, it's true. That's where empathy comes in when you think about the other person.
And try
I've
to,
always
right. Uh-huh.
yes. In terms of empathy, I've always believed that if you can't understand another person's story or their lived experience, resonate with the feelings that go along with their story. Because there's a
Mhm.
universal commonality in terms of our feelings. So resonate with the feelings. If you don't know the story, so
Mhm.
whatever feelings that particular person shares with you, that's the best place to start.
Right. Uh-huh. Mhm.
Well, let's take a brief break and
Yeah.
we'll be right
Okay.
back. You got another one?
Are you recording it? Oh God. It's like
Poems in a Time of Protest. My name is Michael Anthony Ingram. I'd like to welcome you to the program. Please give us a call at 646-787-1631. Now, what I'd like to play is a piece by a young woman. Her name is Kay McClendon, and the title of the poem is Protest.
So there is nothing more American than a protest. And I say protest because ain't that what America been doing? What she was built on? Ain't that what them white folks did? Threw a fit in the streets, fired guns until someone listened, and once they got what they wanted, they forgot their home training. Forgot who built this shit, rewrote history till it was so full of white lies it started to taste right, and now we can't tell the difference between education and Eurocentrism. So here we are, in the street, blood up to our hips, and we wield signs. We can all find something to protest, and still, when white people do it, they call it a party. When black folk do, they call it a riot, and there is no greater way to explain oppression, no better metaphor for privilege. The white man gets angry, it's business. The black man gets angry, it's dangerous. See, the white man packed brown bodies like meat into the bellies of ship after ship brought them to his America, and now he's got the nerve to tell us to go back to Africa. He says, Ferguson, sit down. Kaepernick, stand up. Hands up. Shoot. He say, you know, if they want to protest, they can do it in a way that is easy to ignore, a way that doesn't make my white guilt claw out of my saltwater stomach. I hate the way it burns. You see, he don't want to choke on all that history he kept at the far back of his throat, but now, anytime he fixes his mouth to say any version of nigga, he can't help but to cough up bones. His teeth are ivory tombstones, tongue a wilted flesh flower, and I stand before him. And I alone am the party and the riot. I am the white rapper and the black cop. The black rapper dancing on a cop car, unbothered, breathing, black joy given a body. I have both thrown the cookout and been invited to it. I am the interracial marriage that lasted till death did them part. My mother married a black man knowing she may one day have to put back together the mosaic of his splintered body, knowing she would split her legs and birth an ocean, one darker than her mother. Knew her child would have her eyes, but a wider nose. But I wonder if she knew she would have to watch her heart march in the street over another acquittal. Watch her heart cry in the street as blood overflows and gurgles out of the sewers while they keep marching until it's proved they matter.
That's a very powerful piece of poetry. What do you think, Phyllis?
Oh, man. Whoa, that just really got to me. That was amazing. That's that's what poetry can do.
It is.
You can't really talk about that in the same way, right?
It's true.
I love it. I love the anger in it, because it's like you gotta really. That's something you can get out in poetry, right?
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Make it beautiful.
All right. Do you have another piece you'd like to share?
Sure. Listen, I've got a whole book. I don't want to.
Well, nobody's calling in. So
you tell me when to stop.
I am so glad you're here, and I'm glad you're working with me. I really am. Me too. Well, so I just want to mention that that last one I read is in my book under international news, and the one that I'm going to read now is in the crime section. So, so this crime section of my book is kind of a punch in the gut. The one that I thought I would read is I wrote it after the Christine Blasey Ford testified. Yes.
And in the Kavanaugh hearings, right? So, and there's an epigraph with it that comes from Neil Gaiman at a book that he wrote called Fragile Things.
Okay.
And, the quote is, "There are so many fragile things after all. People break so easily, and so do dreams and hearts."
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I like
and the
that.
poem is called Life. Thank you. Yeah, I liked it too. The poem is called Life is Glass. Breaking. buzz of a bone fracture, burst of a bowl hitting the floor, boom of a heart splitting. Please like me. The dream as it shatters. Please think I'm good. Whistle of a word as it severs from itself into the air, of a scream demolished. Moments of breaking. Hand over the mouth, gagging. Pushed into a room, door locked from the inside. Parties drinking. Why did I do that? The seconds it takes to get lost. Smash of consciousness as it disappears. Disillusions, waking croak. Where are my clothes? Fragmentation into terror. How it happens. Remembering, forgetting. Was I drugged? After school, at a party. Pungency of impact. Taste without permission. No proof. In the sacristy. In a back seat. A hotel or a bedroom. Did it happen? Breaking, dust of collision, whiff of dreams, burning, nightmares strike, symbols snarl in the brain. I'm repulsive, floating above it all in a disappeared body. Why she didn't tell, pretend, it didn't happen. No one will swallow it. He threatened, laughed, was stronger, bigger. It's my fault. They won't believe me. Pretend. Have to see him sneer, hide it. What happens next? Cracks, panic, a plane taking off in the gut, armor as involuntary as neurons saying run, but all there is a wall. Looking okay, nobody knows. Get over it. What is PTSD? The thing that won't leave, the image, the smell, the taste that's a plague, the crush of shame, lack of sleep. When is it over? Feeling it, numbing it, not understanding yet that greatness can come from damage.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That greatness can come from damage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow, that really touched me. That really did. I mean,
yeah, I've got tears in my eyes.
Well, she allowed herself to, I'm going to say, be put on display, and people didn't want to believe her. She opened up her world, her personal world. You know, it was amazing that she was able to do that, or that she would do that. I'm not sure what else to say about that particular story. It was just, it was an overwhelming experience to watch.
Mm-hmm.
To watch him supposedly lie about what had happened. I think that's the part that got to me. It's the lying.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, yeah. I'm also a psychotherapist.
Are you really?
And so, my book is kind of has a lot of that experience that I have of I work with women who've been traumatized, and it's definitely comes out, I think, in my poetry.
Well, I'm a professor of counseling. I'm retired now, but I train school counselors and community counselors on the PhD level.
No kidding.
Yes.
Well, we've got a lot in common. No?
Yes. I was a professor at Oregon State University.
No kidding. Wow. Well,
yes.
Yeah, I'm not retired yet. Yeah, I'm still going on.
Right. Yeah, I retired early. Hey,
cool.
We have a caller. Phyllis, we have a caller. Are you ready to bring this person in?
Me? You're asking me?
I don't care if we don't bring anybody in. This is fun. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Here we go.
Hi, Michael. It's Marianne.
Hello,
Ethan.
Marianne. I am here with Phyllis. Phyllis, this is Marianne.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, Marianne. Nice to meet you too.
Do you have a poem to share, my friend?
I do, and actually, it's a 2020 poem, but it actually predates the. And actually, I think maybe it's 2019. It predates all that we've been going through, but Ethan thought it would be appropriate.
All right.
And it was actually translated into Italian. Mendes Biondo translated into Italian. I'm not going to read the Italian.
Okay.
Listening to March of the Protesters after Reginald Cinche. I remember 2008, the year we were to snatch everything back and rush headlong into the future. The trombones vibrato, the drums, even the bass impelling us, even us, to march. I fear 2020, the chance, everything may be snatched back from us. Like children, we labor over sandcastles that will be smashed by the acid rush of tide. A dark-haired Obama grins and waves from the poster above the bar, waiting for someone else to join him, willing himself not to fade. Okay.
Wow, Marianne.
Cool.
Why did you write that poem, Marianne?
Well,
What was the?
I was sitting at Twins Jazz, and listening to this music, and I saw that literally I saw that there was a picture of President Obama. I think marching to his inauguration, and there he was. And I remember how we all felt, that the 21st century was beginning and things are going to be great, and we were going to move on. Some people even said, we're post-racism now. And then look at what's happened. We've been knocked back. We've been knocked into the dirt.
Right.
So,
I agree, Marianne.
It's frightening. People in the newspaper are writing about, is this the end of our democracy? And I think these are legitimate people. I think Paul Krugman might have been one of them. It's not just some crazy person in Oregon or something. Yeah.
Wow. Are we at the end of our democracy? Are we? Because it's surely been damaged by Donald Trump. I mean, it's truly been damaged.
We
that's another. Don't get us started on that, right?
All right. Well, Marianne, thank you so much. You're always
welcome.
bring quality work. I mean, I enjoy you so much, Marianne. You're a great friend.
Thanks. I'm glad that you had this open mic. I wish that there were more people. I'm going to try to add more. Do you mind if I give the phone to Ethan?
No, please.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
Hello, Ethan, my buddy. I'm well, and yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm doing a lot better than a lot of people. We got a nice house. We're both employed. We're on various different Zoom groups, etc. So,
But the future?
Well, the future. Well, I guess we have to wait and see.
I should share that Ethan will be a guest on Quintessential Listening Poetry in July. So I'm looking forward to that, Ethan.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it probably even more.
All right. Well, thank you. What I'd like to do is to bring in another caller. We have another caller. I'd like to bring this person in. All right?
Oh.
Wait, Michael?
Yes.
I had a couple very short poems.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Please share them.
They're a little bit older. They're like from 2017, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you want?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
All right. So the first one is called "Out of Touch in Trump's America." My friends and I, clinging to part-time and temporary jobs, are so hopeless we don't even grope and harass women. What a bunch of losers we are. I don't know whether that it might qualify as a protest poem.
Okay, it sounds like it.
And then the other one is called "On Hearing That the Trump Administration is Delaying Putting Harriet Tubman on the $20 Bill." As Martin Luther King Jr. put it, sometimes wait means never.
Mm-hmm.
Do they fear that Harriet will bleed monthly over all those fresh green bills, a bloody stain on our history? To some, women are dirtier than money, dirtier than ripping a bawling child from its terrified parents. I hope there's not echo on that. I heard echo.
Wow. Ethan, I didn't know that you could write like that. I mean, I knew that you wrote great poetry, but that one was incredible.
Yeah, thank you. I don't really do that much protest. Well, I do some more, but it's a little different.
Your protest is primarily environmental, I believe. Am I correct?
A lot of it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Well, thank you very, very much. That was beautiful and powerful.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to bring this next person in. All right.
Going to go back to
Good afternoon. Your area code 207. The first three numbers are 290. You're on the air.
Hello, Michael.
Hello. Hello, my friend.
It's Valerie. Oh, hi, Ethan. Hi, Marianne. Not that they're there. But, yeah. Awesome. Awesome stuff.
How are you? How are you? How are you?
I'm good. I just got home. I wanted to call in.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you did. That makes me happy.
Oh,
all
good.
Right.
Good. My poem does not have a title.
Okay.
It is a, well, I guess it's my version of a protest poem. I'm upset about what's happening. I am.
All right. All right.
Okay. There's no title, and it's very short, but it's not a haiku.
Okay.
Okay. Black Lives Matter. To need to say it makes me confused and sadder. Why is it okay to hate and hurt someone for the color of their skin? It's just melanin. Thank you.
Wow.
That is what I know.
Wow. Phyllis, any comments?
Oh, I love that. That just hits it right on the head. Yeah?
Thank you.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Wow.
Very true.
Mm-hmm.
I
It
often
is true.
wonder, you kind of put that into words in that really beautiful way, something I wonder about all the time. Like, what's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
I just don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. What is the big deal? What is? I don't understand.
It's not a big deal.
Well, again,
it's not a big deal. Some people have more melanin in their skin than me, and it's like, so?
Right.
So what?
Right.
So what?
Right.
And
so what?
What do?
Yeah, why?
And what do people? What do light-colored people want to do in the summertime? Darken up. Please. Wonder why that is. Just something to think about.
It's true.
Yeah, trying to
true.
understand people is very complicated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, I like to play a piece of poetry, one that I wrote, and it pretty
Cool.
much encapsulates how I feel about being in America sometimes.
All right.
All right. A case of domestic violence. My mother never loved my father. How could she? Their relationship was abusive from the start. Entered against her will, her beauty polluted. He was forceful, taking, robbing, raping. Her spirit faded into ghostly shadows, ghastly and fearing and so achingly alone. No friends anymore, nor family, or a place to call her home. Her dignity was a dry dungeon abandoned to which he told her she would never return. His violence was an ocean ebb tide flow, an endless source, unpredictable, slow, quick, and mocking. He called her ugly in front of his friends. They laughed and called her ugly too. A master of humiliation, she did not know what to do. Cold fingers, cold manhood. At night in the darkness, he rejoiced whenever she cried or pleaded, please no more perversion. His insatiable appetite to assault her extended to his friends, friends who used her to no end. Please stop. I can't take it. Please, I'm dying. He said, pity for you, victim? We have none, and we will defile you beyond the rising sun. You could have walked through an open door, but the way is shut, and now you must stay tough. He was odd in his boasting about her strength, her ability to work hard, keep the house clean, the children quiet and out of the way. My father never loved my mother either. His lust was unmanageable, raging jealousy and possessiveness. He knew of her hatred and how his touch was despised, so he was vigilant, watching, gauging, and guessing. Would she try to escape, seeking mercy north of his grip? He was a man scarred and ugly with each passing sin, and there is no way to remember all of them. Despite it all, she is more majestic of noble character and determination. The ability she had to nurture us to be courageous children now as men and women despite our violent roots. We know somewhat of the truth. I am a child of an abusive relationship. My mother's name is Africa. My father's name is America. That's it.
Oh, wow, Michael. Oh, that just got me right in the heart.
Did it really?
Mm-hmm.
Because it is a system where Africa and America was raped. We were brought here against our will. People called us ugly, So right. I guess the punchline at the end about my mother being from Africa and my father being America is very strong.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Do you have another one?
Oh, well,
it's just you and I again.
Maybe, no, I was thinking of maybe reading something that was more hopeful.
Okay.
Do you think that'd be okay?
Oh yes, that's perfect. It's perfect.
Okay, so this was also a true story. And the epigraph to this poem is, after sentencing Sergeant Joseph Sterna on a parole violation, Judge Lou Oliveira follows him into his jail cell. And I'll give you just a little bit of a background to the story, which is that the sergeant was part of this took place in the Veterans Court, and I think it might have been in Washington, D.C., actually. So the judge knew this sergeant quite well. They were, I don't know if they were friends, but they definitely had a history of being in the war together. And so I'm not sure which war, but sorry about that. So and the judge, this judge, his job was to help the veterans to overcome their addictions. That's how he saw his job.
All right.
And so the title of the poem is A Compassionate Judge at the Veterans Court. And so when the judge gets into the cell with the man he has just sentenced to 24 hours in jail, the man asks for the whole day. And the judge says, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Like a father who says, he's my son and I won't see him fall. And a son who isn't alone, locked down in the dark with his terror. Because the judge has been to war too and knows there are wounds that aren't visible. Because the man, 2 decades in the military, knows another soldier died for him in combat and lives crushed under this and not only this. And a judge can be a brother to a man who has lost his way, as 2 oak trees in a meadow can be connected by their roots. The way a man who has lost his way can be a messenger to remind us there is so much more to know about what's on the inside. Because we are so ready to skate on the surface of our minds. Because we can do so much more to be relatives in the fields of trees, beauty, and devastation we call home.
Wow. Another incredible piece, Phyllis. Another incredible piece.
Thank you so much.
When we have an opportunity, when we have an opportunity to talk on my show in 2 weeks, one of the questions that I'll ask you is, when did you first learn that you wanted to express yourself through poetry?
Oh, right. Okay.
You can answer it now if you like.
Yeah, well, that's a really, I don't think it's that unusual, but it's also really personal for me. So,
okay.
And I think, probably, but I'll answer it. That's fine. I think, and maybe a lot of people who write come from this place, but I think it was a natural affinity that I didn't really even have to think about. It just happened. So that was one part of it. And the other part of it was in response to a lot of pain, and an attempt to manage that pain in some way. And what happened was that I went for a really long time without writing. So I wrote when I was a teenager, actually, and then as a young adult, I still wrote, but I didn't really study in school or anything like that. I was an English major, but I didn't take creative writing. So, and then when I felt more like I had the call, I always wrote poetry, so I had the call to study it more. But it wasn't until I found the teacher that I have now, whose name is Rosemary Watola Trommer, and she really opened my heart and my soul in such a way that I began to really write what I needed to write about. I very clearly, she said to me, well, you should write about your family. And I told her, no, I'm never going to write about that. Never. And then the next day I started writing about that. It's kind of how I am. I always say no, and then I just do it. So that's the answer to your question. Part of it, anyway.
Well, thank you very much. What I'd like to do now is to play a piece by a group of young children. They're out of Cleveland, and the piece is Urban Student Poets Address Violence, racism, and stereotypes.
All right. 3, 2, 1. What do you see when you look at me?
Do you see a crackhead?
What do you see when you look at me, a rude girl?
What do you see when you look at me, a princess with no worries?
What do you see when you look at me, an illegal immigrant?
What do you see when you look at me, a lazy underachiever?
What do you see when you look at me, a thief, a robber?
What do you see when you look at me, an undercover racist?
What do you see when you look at me, having bad attitude?
What do you see when you look at me, a terrorist? Are you afraid of me?
What do you see when you look at me? What you should see is the future, the people who will one day run the world, who just need an opportunity to shine and rise to the occasion. Please don't discount me. Don't pass me to the side because of what you see. I am so much more than what you assume. So, tell me, honestly, what do you see when you look at me?
Violence, violence, violence. All around me I see is violence. All I see is people being me. No safe space, no freedom. I can't even run my back around the corner. So come on, people, it's time. Let's make a change. Let's make a real change this time. Stop hurting one another. Let's just be nice to one another. I can't stand this no more. All I see is violence, violence, violence.
I don't know what you've been told. I don't know what you've been told. America is mighty cold. America is mighty cold. Colin Kaepernick took a great stand. Colin Kaepernick took a great stand. 'Cause there weren't no justice for the black man. 'Cause there ain't no justice for the black man.
Liberation is what we want.
Liberation is what we want. We'll keep fighting till it comes. We'll keep fighting till it comes.
We the black youth, we'll hold it down.
We the black youth will hold it down to educate the people that stand their ground. Educate the people that stand their ground. The Constitution never implied to me. The Constitution never implied to me. 'Cause Lady Liberty just lied to me. 'Cause Lady Liberty just lies to me. Tamir Rice. Mike Brown.
Eric Garner. Timothy Russell Williams.
Tanisha Anderson. If we can't have justice,
we can't have peace.
If we can't have peace, we can never be free. If we can't have justice, you can't have peace. If we can't have peace, we can never be free. If we can't have justice, you can't have peace. If we can't have peace, we can never be free. Black power, black power, black power, black power.
Who am I to know the purposes of life? Who am I to be able to hold a knife? Who am I to have no responsibility? Who am I to be born 12 years ago, literally? How many times have I been told I don't understand? In other people's perspective, who am I to know hand to hand? Who am I to be at the slam? Who am I to be on this stage? Who am I to be writing this poem at 12 years of age? Who am I to be even writing this poem? My rhymes ain't like Kanye West, but you know him. I might not be able to afford a gym, but I know my pride, my talent, my ability comes from Mount STEM.
All right.
Wow.
From the voices of babes.
Yeah.
At 12 years old, you're already thinking about stuff.
Oh yeah.
Already feeling discriminated against.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, it seems like when people listen, just this last week, I wonder if part of it is that the feeling of that people are actually listening.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow when you know that other people are listening, you feel more connected and like you can hear it more and you can hear what these kids are saying, you can feel what they feel. It's like this, we're such a tribal, collective kind of animal that, just and their voices are so strong.
Yes.
But who is listening? I mean, that's the thing. If nobody's listening, then it doesn't feel as powerful. So I don't know.
But I guess
that's just what I was thinking.
Well, I guess if you just continue to lift your voice, continuing to lift it, hopefully someday someone will listen. Hopefully. That's all we can say.
Right. That's right. Uh-huh.
That's right.
Right. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe, right. And right now more people are listening, right?
Yes.
So Do you think? Yeah, it seems like it to me. I don't know.
I think so. I think now, for whatever reason, more people are listening. And if you listen to the commentators on TV, they're like, this is something they've never seen before, this movement. So change has to come. Let's take a brief break, and we'll be right back. All right. I am Michael Anthony Ingram. Please call in at 646-787-1631. We're having a great time. We're having a fantastic time.
Michael, I thought of a poem by Naomi Shihab Nye that I thought I could read whenever you think.
Yes. Would you like to read it now?
If there's time.
Yes, we're fine. We're fine in terms of time.
Okay. Well, so I found this poem because I was looking for something. I have a very small group of writers that write with me.
Okay.
And we're writing. I lead the group. It's using poetry for healing purposes. It's not a therapy group. It's therapeutic. And I also have a specialty in what's called poetry therapy. So
wait a minute. Wait, stop right there. Are you a member of the National Association of Poetry Therapists?
I'm not actually, but I am certified as a poetry therapist. Yeah,
wow.
Are you? Are
That's
you a member
something that
of
I always wanted to do. People have been after me for years to become a poetry therapist, a registered poetry therapist. This is great.
You should look into it. Listen, I'll talk to you about that offline sometime.
Okay. Okay.
But, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. It's been so gratifying to me to be able to use, my therapy skills, my my poetry, love for poetry, and working with people in this way. And what you do is you bring a poem into the group, and then the way I use it to develop the writing prompts. And this is the one that I found for tomorrow. So it has a lot of meaning for me. I thought it would be something we could use for tomorrow. So see what you think of it. So it's by Naomi Shihab Nye, one of my very, very most favoriteest poets. And it's called Gate A4. Are you familiar with Naomi?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, just so if people don't know about her, she's an Arab American, Palestinian American poet. So she writes a lot about Palestinian issues. And she also is I think she still is the poet laureate of youth in the United States.
Oh wow!
So yeah, she's really an amazing poet and person. I wish I knew her personally, but anyway, the poem is called Gate A4. Wandering around the Albuquerque airport terminal after learning my flight had been delayed for hours, I heard an announcement. If anyone in the vicinity of Gate A4 understands any Arabic, please come to the gate immediately. Well, one pauses these days. Gate A4 was my own gate. I went there. An older woman in full traditional Palestinian embroidered dress, just like my grandma wore, was crumpled to the floor, wailing. Help! said the flight attendant. Talk to her. What is her problem? We told her the flight was going to be late, and she did this. I stooped to my arm around the woman. I stooped to put my arm around the woman and spoke calmly. Shuda, Shubik, Habibi, Stani Shway. I'm fracturing this. Min Fabi, Shubi, Sawi. The moment she heard any words she knew, however poorly used, she stopped crying. She thought the flight had been canceled entirely. She needed to be in El Paso for major medical treatment the next day. I said, no, you're fine. You'll get there. Just wait. Who is picking you up? Let's call him. We called her son. I spoke with him in English. I told him I would stay with his mother till we got on the plane. She talked to him. Then we called our other sons just for the fun of it. Called my dad, and he and she spoke for a while in Arabic and found out, of course, they had 10 shared friends. Then I thought, just for the heck of it, why not call some Palestinian poets I know and let them chat with her? This all took up 2 hours. She was laughing a lot by then, telling about her life, patting my knee, answering questions. She had pulled a sack of homemade mamoon cookies, little powdered sugar, crumbling mounds stuffed with dates and nuts, from her bag, and was offering them to all the women at the gate. To my amazement, not a single traveler declined one. It was like a sacrament. The traveler from Argentina, the mom from California, the woman from Laredo, we were all covered with the same powdered sugar and smiling. There is no better cookie. Then the airline broke out free apple juice, and 2 little girls from our flight ran around serving it, and they were covered with powdered sugar too. And I noticed my new best friend, by now we were holding hands, had a potted plant poking out of her bag, some medicinal thing with green furry leaves. Such an old country traveling tradition, always carry a plant, always stay rooted to somewhere. And I looked around that gate of late and weary ones and thought, this is the world I want to live in, the shared world. Not a single person in that gate, once the crying of confusion stopped, seemed apprehensive any other person. They took the cookies. I wanted to hug all those other women too. This can still happen anywhere. Not everything is lost.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Not everything is lost.
Yeah, that does it, huh? Yeah. So even now we can't even be at that airport, right?
Mm-hmm.
We certainly can't be eating those cookies right now, right?
No, we can't.
Right. But not everything is lost, yeah. I mean, that's pretty profound, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Here's a poem that I'd like to share that I think fits in perfectly with that particular piece about a traveler, about traveling. It's about Emma Lazarus, the person who wrote the inscription at the base of the Statue of Liberty. The New Colossus, 1883, is the title of the poem graven on a tablet within the pedestal of the Statue of Liberty in the New York City harbor. The most famous words, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free," are known and beloved by many people. Here is my open letter to you, Emma Lazarus, author of the poem. Dear Emma, your simple words undoubtedly serve as a comforting balm for many weary sea travelers, a sturdy branch to hang an indomitable spirit, a steadfast beacon to those who sail from European shores to a distant land where pink and white skin tones flesh out the living canvas. But Emma, I must ask the question, what about me? Did you not see my boat pull in as you compassionately called out to others who travel here from lands beyond the shoulder of liberty? I, too, have traveled the rough and uncertain seas. My body also ached, and my spirit cried day and night. Confusion and fear about what lies ahead of me, with anger and bewilderment about what had been stripped and torn from me. The middle passage has everlastingly engraved my heart. I chanted songs of sorrow for the still living and the dead men, women, and children that unknowingly slept beside me. So, Emma, What about me? Soon to be viewed by all as only 3/5 of a man. My dignity peeled off my 40 acres as well as my 2 mules. I too, huddled with masses yearning to breathe free. Masses were panting and like me slowly dying. Masses which were mirror images of the brown clay, golden morning sun, ruby sunset, and autumn colored nights that framed the time you took to write your much lauded words. I too am one of the tired, poor, huddled in a mass yearning to break free. So, Emma, I saw you standing on the shore. How did you not see me? Sincerely, a fellow American.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's incredible.
How did you not see me? And I think that's one of the
right.
reasons people are marching. How do you not see us? Here we are,
Right.
thousands and thousands and thousands, and still there are some who'd say, well, this is absolutely nothing. This is trivial.
Mm-hmm.
So what about me, Phyllis?
Right.
What about me?
What about it? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's really that made me cry.
Did it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Oh.
well, let me say something a little bit more uplifting. Uh,
Oh, no. Okay, crying's good.
crying is good. That's true. That's right. You are a therapist.
Mm.
No, crying is good.
Yeah, that is true.
That is something that we advocate.
Yes,
Okay.
we do.
We've got about 15
But
minutes
yeah,
left.
but go with the uplift. I'll take the uplifting too, though.
Okay. This is something a little bit more
Go for
mellow.
it. Mm-hmm.
This too soon shall pass. I know now may be hard, as you look into the smoke, through the fire and the darkness, thinking all is but a joke, looking at your leaders with hatred and with scorn, looking all around you at all the beaten and the worn, looking around you and all that you can see are the blood and the tears and the hurt running free, the cries of the children, the cries of their ma, the cries from the country, the cries from afar. The pain that is rising that wells up within, the pain of uprising that swells and begins to take up a root and excite such aggression which otherwise would have contented repression. So though for now we cannot have peace, perhaps we can have some perspective, if you please. As sure as the seasons will come and will go, and sun will change to rain then to snow, all that we are and all that we know will one day flow with the breeze and will blow away the times as we go into the future, a path free of woe. Perhaps not free, but quite a bit better, and if you do not trust these words or these letters, think thus upon the past, what and where we grew from and what we did outlast. For all the times we've suffered, all those times have gone, and we have grown much stronger, and to the future we pressed on. The knowledge that we've gained have paved the way ahead, and though sometimes it seems that we are walking back instead, remember the times of past, and hold your head up high, and remember that sometimes it is okay to cry. But remember to hope, and act with goodness and with class, and remember these 5 words: this too soon shall pass.
This too shall pass.
Yeah, that was a nice bookend. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the perfect poem to end on. What do you think?
I do too. You just read me. Oh wow, it's been just lovely. I'm sure I'll be calling in again. Yeah.
All right.
And I'll talk to you in later on this month. Yeah.
Yes, you will. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in, because I know you're out there somewhere in the world, and I'm glad you're there. Yes, and have a good evening.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye.
You have just listened to the Quintessential Listening Poetry Online Radio Podcast with your host, Dr. Michael Anthony Ingram. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher. And make sure to catch our next episode.